time is a variable, is important because you need to understand like when I work with my developers, it's always been how long. So we need to get that done. How long is it gonna take? Not how long it's gonna take for you to do it. I have it all integrated. And it's just like with personal life as well. It's no work-life balance for founders. That's something that's been invented for.
Hi, welcome to Objective Oriented Programmers. Today I am going to be speaking to Renaud Vandewalle, right? Is
Yeah,
that correct?
indeed.
He's a visionary tech leader and is the founder of Anti-Hero Management and most recently Cayus AI. Thank you for joining me today, Renaud.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to start with your name actually. Your first name is Renaud. I think it's of a French origin, right?
Indeed, yes.
And your last name is Dutch. So can we talk
That's
a
right.
little bit about your background and where you're from?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I my family's been French for 3 generations. Came to France after the First World War, and originally, obviously, from Belgium. So yeah, and then I did myself move around the world, live in Australia, Canada, and back to the old Europe. Now based in London.
Okay. So yeah, you moved around a lot. That means you speak a couple languages.
Well, actually, French and English is already quite good for me. Then yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
How did you get into tech? Where did the journey begin for you?
Yeah, well, it's just logic for me came naturally, like mathematics. And so, I was young, 18, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to university, and well, the easiest was just to pick math, logic, computer. I quite like building my own computer when
Yeah.
at the time where you would do this type of stuff, it was still, fairly new in the late 90s. And then basically it was just the easier path for me because I didn't know what to do. I would just go where it was easier. And so I did like a bachelor degree in mathematics and technology. And I did not have to attend a lot of the lessons. Don't follow my path, just go to the lessons. But yeah, I didn't, and it was enough for me to pass. And then I got more serious about my future, meeting with other people in engineering school. And so I I registered to an engineering school for 3 years. It was the equivalent of a master degree, but a bit more like practical. So yeah, it was a lot more serious. Like for 3 years, I've worked a lot more and started, to learn a lot about development, infrastructure, and all that, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. While I was researching you, I discovered that leadership is something you're much interested in. And I also saw that you led non-tech organizations and also tech organizations. The question would be, what similarities do you think are there in both fields of leadership? And if there are any differences, can you just highlight those points for us?
Sure, very interesting question. So most of my career has been in tech companies. So it was, I started as a developer in CMS, like content management system. I was building one at the time, but for about a year, I did some development, and then I moved up to project management because what I found is that I was more interested. Like I loved, like, you write some codes and hello world and things are happening, and it's like, you feel like God, like, it has created and generated something. But I got I'm not sure if it was frustrating. The word is, it's more like, I like fixing stuff, and
Yeah.
for me the problem was not the technology and has never been. So like when project fails or where it's not doing what it's supposed to do for the business, it's more a people issue. What I mean by that is that people have not figured out, like professionals, they've not figured out what There's this difference between what you want and what you need, and there's also how to translate this to the technology team, like to the technical team as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gap in the middle that I found that was the main reason for project to fail. So that was why I was in the middle. Now to answer your question, the only company which is not fully technical driven is my coaching consultancy,
Yeah.
which I founded. But I've been not only, but primarily working with tech people, so tech startup, more at the scaling up phase where they have to hire people and let go of the operational stuff. So in terms of leadership, through my customers, who are some of them not necessarily in the tech industry, the only difference I would say is when you are in the like technical teams or IT teams, you have some personalities that are similar
Yeah.
than in other type of job. Like if you are in marketing, you'd be more creative and outgoing and like maybe extrovert. And this is a generalization because it's not necessarily the case. You could be a
Sure.
developer and extrovert, but it's just to give you a sense of like you would find differences because people interact differently. Like if you go to like after work party with the technical team and with the marketing team, it's not the same vibe.
Sure.
So that's the main difference. But in terms of leadership, for me, it's and I wrote a book last year about it. It's there's no we're all different. So there's no one way to be a good leader and a good manager. It's all about knowing more about yourself and about exploring your own style of management.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. As a founder and as a leader, and which you've been for a while, what does the term value, time, and results mean to you as a leader? How do you interact with those terms as a leader, and how do you accomplish your goals around all of that as a leader?
Right. So you said time,
Yeah,
value,
time, value, and your
and results. Right. Well, when you say um, it's funny because when you said value, I associated it more to the culture of like the values of the company and the values of people
yeah,
and how to find those shared values to drive the business together um, towards the same direction. But I guess when you say value in that context of time and results, it's the value you produce
yeah,
for the customer.
sure,
So time, value, and results. I'm a result-driven person. So when I work with my employees, my co-founders, it's all about what the results we should get, what's our goals. Now, the how to do it, which means like the time it takes, in a way, it doesn't matter. It's not because you are working, 10 hours a day or 2 hours a day. If you get to that results that provide that value, then I'm happy. Like if you work 1 day a week, but you deliver the value and the results that is expected from the business for what you're paid for, I don't care.
uh,
So like the time is, yeah, it's I think time is flexible. It's time is if I give you a task to do it in 1 day, you will take the whole day to do it because you will perfect it, you will tweak it, you will change it, and you're gonna approach this task knowing that you've got 1 day to do it. If I tell you that same task, you've got 2 hours to do it, you'll do it completely differently. You won't necessarily get the same result, but you might get 80% of the value in 2 hours, and the 20% for the rest of the day. Um, and so that's what I mean by time. Time is flexible. So time is a variable, is important because you need to understand like when I work with my developers, it's always been how long. So we need to get that done. How long is it going to take? Not how long it's going to take for you to do it, but how long in terms of like when, how do I manage the expectations with my customers, with the users? And so yeah, that's what it means for me, like time, value, and results.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. I agree with you on the point where time can be variable, irrespective of how long it takes to accomplish a task, and you're not rigid on how you approach that term. You're very flexible with your
Well,
descriptions.
it's like time is very time is kind of a feeling, like in terms of how you remember it. The more activities you do, like the more fun, but not just fun, the more things you do, the slower is the time actually. Because we feel it's the other way around, because like you spend a lot of time doing things, and you get bored, and like it's the repeating the same thing. But the more you do different activities, and like you do new stuff over the weekend and everything, time slows down. Like you will be like, I've done that last week, but it feels like it was ages ago because I've done so many things in between. So what I'm saying is that it's time is how you perceive time, and it could be that in terms of value, you could spend a very small amount of time that will generate a lot of value, and you could spend a lot of time, like the 80/20 rule that you might um, know about, where 20% is the one that creates the most value.
Value.
But having said that, if you don't have the 80%, that's like a waste of time. You don't get the 20% value.
Yeah. Quickly to follow up that question, can we talk about systems or ways you stay productive and how you manage all of your commitments?
Yeah. First of all, they are all aligned with the same mission. So my mission is to bring people together. Like what I mean by that is to create. I've got actually a number for it. It's 1 million leaders that I want to create that will work together. So as teams, obviously, and through my clients to build like bold solutions to solve the challenges that we're facing today. And so all of my businesses, they are all aligned to that mission, that core mission. So the vision is the same. It's just that it does it differently and through different angles. So what I mean is that what's important is the clarity, because then that's what drives your decision making. Like, is it going towards that direction or not? And obviously that mission has a statement for each of my companies, but they're very much like linked together. So the way I organize myself is I'm not like today I'm working for anti-hero management and tomorrow I'm working with Cayus AI. No, I have it all integrated. And it's just like with personal life as well. It's no work-life balance for founders. That's something that's been invented for corporate, the 9 to 5, and holidays and everything. But as a founder, even holidays, like I'm not saying they don't exist, but usually you are very passionate about what you're doing, and so you're on holiday and you might have some ideas coming up, and it's usually how it works, when you are in a shower, or when you're getting to sleep, or I always have my mobile phone not too far, or pen and paper to write down. It's very often that I get to sleep and I get into that phase. I think they call it like the theta
Yeah.
phase, and there's like things are popping in. I'm like, okay, I'm writing that down. But what I'm saying is that it's all integrated, and then it's more again about the results. I'm playing games basically. I'm playing games. I'm selling, like for Cayus AI this month. It's gonna be this type of results. It's gonna be 30 new users, 30 new customers for my executive coaching consultancy. This is more like one-on-one coaching, and I only take 12 customers at any point in time. Like currently, I've got only a few spots left, but I'm not going above 12 because it's going to take about a week per month of my time to serve this customer well. And I just figured that where I'm at right now, this is in terms of how I spread my energy. This is how I should do it. But this changed all the time. There's no like one system. Like in 6 months' time, touch wood, Caius is booming. Um, well, I would only take 5 customers now in my executive coaching. I still want to, I do believe that I would still want to work one on one, even if it's only one at a time. But it's so rewarding. Like you see the results, the your customers, like the value, the impact that you have, and also you keep on practicing. And Cayus AI is all about leadership development as well. It just does it in a different way with context, and it does it real time. Where I can't be here with my customers all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I bring more value because there's that human connection, but it's a lot more expensive to work one on one with me than having a license of working with Cayus AI, for example. So in terms of time, it's integrated, and it's all about playing the game, and then you plan your game for the week, and then you retrospectively plan it for the day. But it's always like always plan in advance, like, and I'm not always disciplined on that. To be transparent, this is a very much continuous effort, where most of the week I get it right, where you do plan your week in advance, and my calendar is dictating my day, because I don't want to be getting at 2 p.m. after like a late lunch, feel a bit tired, and I've got nothing on my diary. Like,
Yeah.
it's so easy for me to be like, well, then I'm gonna chill for a bit. No, because if I chill for a bit on that time, I'm not saying that you should not chill out, it's good as well, but you might want to actually plan it so that you do your work when you said that you would do, and you keep that integrity intact.
Yeah. I love your response. It's great segue into the next question. Like, you most recently founded Cayuse AI. Can we talk about that,
Yeah.
Cayuse, and how do users use the product?
Yeah, so what we've done a lot of interviews of founders, of managing directors, HR as well, different type of staffs of company, and in the leadership development industry, we found that the alternative solutions that exist right now, like seminars, online training, etc., there were a few gaps. So one widely used type of activity is seminars, where you put all of your managers into a nice hotel for 2 days, and they will learn how to become better leaders. The issue that you have in this type of setting is that you have to remain quite generalist in terms of the content, and you've got seasoned managers as well as very new managers, and so the return on investment is not that great. It could have a better impact, like in terms of how you use your budget, because it could be more tailored in a way. The second issue that we found is the fact that you have to figure out how you're gonna apply what you learned in your context. And so Cayus AI lives within Teams, the environment of Microsoft right now. There will be Slack and there will be other interfaces, but it knows your context. So in seminars, they don't know your context. They don't know how many people you have. They don't know that Alice within your team is always late. They don't know all of that. Where Caius knows through all of your interactions, your emails, your retranscript, whether you're using Teams or Zoom, or all of the interactions you have digitally with your employees. Caius will be aware of that and will be able to save you time in preparing your interactions. So it will prepare the agenda for you, and it's a trained leadership coach, so that it will help you, like, oh, Alice, yeah, she's been late going to the office. It's not a great example, it's a bit old fashioned. I'm a totally remote company,
Yeah.
but let's
Fine.
use that simple example. I don't know how to approach it. Like, I've never dealt with these difficult conversations. And so you will have that LLM, that chat, which is Case trained for that, where it's
Mm.
going to help you to think, taking like a coaching posture, as well as giving you options and advice that would resonate with you. And so the third element, the third gap that we found in the existing solutions is the timing. So whether it's online training, whether it's self-learning, reading books, which is a really great way to do it. Not because I published a book myself, but I've been reading. I discovered reading books, like, I think it was 7 years ago, so not that long, and that's where I've learned so much. I definitely recommend to go and get a book and read about whatever resonates with you. And so even if you're like self-learning, if you don't apply what you've learned, or if you don't have the opportunity to apply it because you don't have the situation, like maybe you're a manager but you have only one employee, and for whatever reason you can't apply it or you just forget. After 6 months, if you still have 5% left of what you've learned, you would be um, very, very, like, you would have a really good memory.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. So the timing was also very important, and that's why Cayus with the AI element, it's available whenever you need it. Like, oh, I just had that meeting with Alice, and it did not go well. um, I did not feel good. Alice was really unhappy, and like the result is a mess. Well, you don't want to, like in big companies, you apply for a training, and it might take a few years before it gets accepted for you to go on to that training. Well, you figured it out in another way, right? So, but here you are being supported real time when it matters most, basically.
Is it correct to say Cayuse is integrated into a team's culture or company's culture then?
In what, sorry? In the team culture?
Is it integrated? So does the LLM serve the organization in the way the organization interacts with leadership, or it combines elements of real world experience of how things should go with
Yeah,
introducing that experience into the team?
yeah, that's very interesting. It's sorry, again, this is very much about this philosophy about leadership where we're all different. There's no one way to become a good manager. So it's all within Chaos. You have a dashboard, and the KPIs you've got there, they are not KPIs that we set for the manager. Like, I'm not going to say that delegation, it's 5 out of 10. You should delegate more, or like empathy, you should have more empathy, and you are 7 out of 10. No, because we're all different. We're all in different environment. We have different contexts, employees, and so it will, with Chaos, it will generate your own KPIs. So it's
Oh,
not like a manager can compare himself with another manager. No, it doesn't matter. It's about the result you will get within your team. How will you empower your team and get the results you want from your team? And so, what do you want to work on? What do you need to work on yourself? And like in a bigger setting, when you scale up and you've got a few layers of in the hierarchy, and you deploy chaos for your managers, it is for the managers and only for the managers. Like there's no dashboard or KPIs or anything that goes to their direct manager or directors, or that goes to HR. This is very much just for the manager. Then how does the business know whether it has an impact? Well, the business does have their own KPIs in terms of performance, right?
yeah.
And so you just compare before and after chaos on the performance. And those KPIs don't have to change because we believe that by developing leaders, that's how it drives performance. There's a lot of studies about it. One was Gallup about the fact that in terms of retention, like people retention, talent retention, it costs a lot. Like when you hire the wrong person is one thing, but when you've got people who are trained and there's a job and you lose them,
Yeah.
there's a huge cost behind that. And that study says that this 70% of the reason why people are staying, it's because of their relationship with the direct report. Like we're talking about, salaries, packages, brand, the image of the brand, etc. But this accounts for 30% of people saying I want to leave or I want to stay. So the leader has so much impact on the performance. The manager has so much impact on the performance of the business and on the retention of those talents. That's why we focus on the managers, directors, obviously.
Lastly, with Cayuse, what's the future of the company and what should we expect from Cayuse in, let's say, the next 1 year?
The next 1 year is quite a short time, but we so our strategy is that we are bootstrapping because I've got two other co-founders, a CTO who's focusing solely on developing CAS, and I've got my CEO who's also like providing executive coaching more in the industry. And so from all of our work with our consultancies, it does provides for paying for our rent or our houses and for looking after our families. And it also there's also like investment into Cayus, obviously. And the aim is that we're gonna get some grants and we're gonna get some investments, but bootstrapping as much as possible. What I mean by that is keeping full ownership between the three of us to as long as we can. By this I mean that within a year we want to go and get some investment, but we want to be in that stage where Caius, we built a system like a marketing and sales system so that uh, we know that if you invest that much, then it's gonna multiple the numbers so that it's just to scale up basically. It's not to validate an idea or anything like that. We are doing that ourselves, bootstrapping, but the bootstrapping will stop when we're gonna scale up to the next level.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. So, we are quite running out of time, but before we go, at the start you talked about your experience as a developer. So the question is, for someone getting into tech today, how do you think they should see AI? Should they see AI as a threat, or what advice do you have for somebody trying to become a developer in 2025?
So I believe AI is going to be like a great assistant. It's like for junior developers or average developers, yes, they would be replaced. We would not need average developers, but by this I mean is that it's just going to redefine what is a developer. And so what I would advise people getting into programming, developing right now is that they embrace AI. Like they just look at how they can build stuff with AI and to keep like not to use it as AI knows it and it's going to figure it out. No, it's learning how to leverage, how to use it, but still understand the core principles so that AI is not ready yet to replace a lot of things. Like you always have to double check the information and you have to challenge it. So it's my way of like my approach to AI is that it's there, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to embrace it and you have to learn how to leverage it. And as long as you keep learning and not using it more like as a like it's going to do the work for me, because if it does the work for you without much efforts, everyone can do that. It means that everyone can do that. Why is it that many successful entrepreneurs? It's because it's difficult. Like, why are people? Because people are just like those that are not succeeding. I would say it's because they just stop because it gets harder, or like they would find excuses about the market, about a lot of things, which makes it easier. And yes, sometimes they are the reasons, but it should not make you stop. Like you pivot and you do something else. It's not for everybody, but I'm just gonna say that for developers, it's the same. Like if you feel like AI is gonna make your work easier and you don't have to think as much, you're on the wrong path. You want really to explore and see how you can leverage it and put the efforts to get the knowledge and experience.
Yeah. And I agree with your thoughts on that. But lastly, it's in line with some of your responses from the previous question. What give us three tips you have for founders who are trying to um create their own startup, and like how do they find success in today's market?
Yeah, so one is I would not do it by myself. Like the solopreneurs, I think there's a limit to it, and it's not just that. It's an adventure, and you don't want to get into the trap that you're doing all of it by yourself. You have your own strength, and there's a great book. And it's not mine. Mine is great as well, but it's Who Not How. Who Not How. It's Dan Sullivan. It's instead of thinking first, how do I get that done? It's who can get that done for me? Like who can get that done better? And that reframes. It doesn't mean that you know when you start, you may not have the budget for the who, so
Yeah.
you still have to figure out the how. But it's a good mindset to have in terms of who, because solopreneur and a lot of people that's the second. I mean, that's a reason why people don't want to be in a team. It's because they feel like it's a burden. It's going to be difficult managing relationship and things like that. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's just because we are not being trained for that. Even like if you go and get an MBA, like the leadership part of it, where you will be supposed to manage. And I was in a engineering school, master degree level. You are expected to manage people fairly soon. The level of training is very, very, very light. So that's one thing to build as a team. That's number one. Number two is that to get help as well, to figure out which help you need. Like it's kind of goes back to the first one, who not how.
Yeah.
It's yes, it could be hiring people, it could be externalizing some work, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also like the working on by this is working on yourself. Like what I'm saying is that all of the fears you may have, all of the beliefs that you have in the fact that these are the ones that will be the bottleneck. So what I'm saying is that your business cannot outgrow you as the leader or founder of the business. So you the bottleneck regardless. So you have to work on yourself, and by this I mean is to try to develop yourself as a leader and see like what are the all of the beliefs that you had that comes in your way. The fact that you want to be liked. Well, if you niche down to a specific market and your message is very clear, it has to be divisive. Like it means that some people will not resonate with you, and you have to be okay with that. And when this happens and you get rejection, it's a good sign. But usually our ego is like very challenged. So that's the second one. Um, the third one is to sell before you build. Like so many founders that I'm chatting with a lot of founders every week, and so many have a product and they're like, well, we've built that, but we're almost there. It's not perfect yet. Kind of waiting for it to be perfect or to have at least this or that, and then we would launch that marketing campaign, right? So you've built something and you have no clue whether um, there is somebody who's going to use it.
Yeah.
So you may have wasted a lot of your time for something. It might be the best idea in the world, and it might solve a real problem. And you might, that's the kind of expert trap where you you know your industry, you know what's the gap, and you feel that's a brilliant idea, and so you build something in your garage and then you put it out there. That's very risky. So you first want to talk, have a lot of interviews like we did, talk to a lot of people to find what's the gap in the market. And before building it, you mock-ups or you just validate the idea with customers where they will be like, oh yeah, if you pull this up, I want to use it. Right. And you want enough volume, like you can build a waiting list for this, so that you know that when you build it, you're gonna have traction. So that's a very important um, tip, because this is a trap that I see still a lot every day. And there's another book that is great for that, like two books that I would recommend with this approach. One is Lean Startup. I think it's Eric Rice and Reese, and there's with Ash Moria, which is the Running Lean. So, and these are explaining that in a lot more depth and really nicely.
So to iterate your tips, one is don't build alone, have a
Yeah.
team, right?
Yes.
Two is to continually improve yourself so as
Yes.
to impact your business. And number three is to find a way to sell or market even
Yes.
before you get into the market.
Yes. Before you
Yeah,
build it, yeah. Before you build that solution.
yeah. Thank you very much, Renaud, for talking to me today. I really enjoyed our conversation and got a lot of great tips from you. Also, I would like to get a list of all the books you've read. on how to
Well,
to be a
yeah,
fantastic leader.
quite a few, but yeah, there's definitely a few more that I would be happy to share that made a big difference. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Renaud, and hope to talk to you sometime in the future about where you'll be at with Cayus and every other thing you got going on.
yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for your time and your presence in this podcast. A very interesting question. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.